What's up, DS3 TV? We are back for another video, and that hurt a lot. Scraped my leg against the metal frame of the bed. But yeah, I'm back for another video, and this one is Miscellaneous Myths, the Great Norse Seal Fight, and this is going to be voiced by Red from Always Sarcastic Productions. We love this channel on DS3 TV. This is their newest video, so I just have to get this one out as quick as possible. And yeah, let's get into it. Also, subscribe to the channel. I want to get to 10,000 subscribers. So basically, I will be suffering and having hot sauce, the Hot Ones hot sauce, and make a video out of it. And mind you, I'm a person that does not like hot sauce, so this is gonna be fun. Yeah. What just happened? Let's get into it. Yeah, hopefully the lighting won't be bad in these videos, because I bought. Now we can get into the video. That took a minute to get like everything good. I don't know how I'm gonna edit that, but you're probably not gonna see everything that I had to do. It's not that good.
So there's kind of a selection bias when it comes to mythology. Most of the stories we know are the ones that got codified somewhere, written down in some big important tome which got preserved and copied and translated and made it to the modern day pretty much unscathed, barring some Christianization or Victorian weirdness or the occasional fire. But focusing on those stories makes it easy to forget the impossibly vast body of mythology that we don't know, the stuff that got forgotten, overwritten, burned, never written down, or just generally lost. We don't know how much we don't know, but sometimes we get tantalizing glimpses of that long-forgotten knowledge that sends us down the rabbit hole, scraping together fragments of third-hand anecdotal evidence trying to piece together what that long-lost original story might have been, forcing us to gaze into the yawning abyss of lost knowledge and to confront the sheer incomprehensible and...
It is kind of cool that you can, like, that, you know, since we don't know how much we lost, you can kind of be as creative as the great people were, like in their moves, so you can kind of be pretty creative in what you want to do with, like, you know, with like how you want to like take their moves and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty cool to me.
Enormity of it all. The body of knowledge we have about mythology begins looking less like a shining edifice of marble packed with ancient tomes of knowledge and more like a thin cobweb stretched over a chasm. So today let's talk about that one time Loki and Heimdall turned into seals and threw hands, or more accurately flippers, because the minute I heard that I absolutely could not resist looking for more information. So to start,
I definitely think that's probably what drove me to something like the Great Norse Seal Fight. I think that's probably another thing that drove me to it. I'm like, what is that?
Dive into this tantalizing tidbit, we check in with our old friend Snorri Sturluson. In the Prose Edda, Snorri mentions that Heimdall frequented Singastein, where he fought Loki for the necklace brisinga-men while transformed into seals. Snorri has the audacity to not give us any further information about this, which is where the research rabbit hole starts. So first we go looking for Snorri's sources. Disclaimer that I'm not going to get any of these names right. Snorri is recounting a story from the work of one historical poet called Ulf Uggason, specifically a poem called Husdrapa, which Ulf wrote describing the dope carvings in a sweet new mead hall he visited one time. The carvings represented scenes from mythology, a battle between Loki and Heimdall, plus two more familiar scenes of Thor fishing for Jormungandr and the funeral of Balder. Now this is a poem about a carving of a myth, so things are already getting pretty third-hand, but more heinously, the poem doesn't mention them being seals, which is obviously unacceptable and warrants further research. But we've honestly run this particular angle about as far as we can go. Snorri was struggling to interpret a poem that was in turn struggling to interpret a carving that was struggling to interpret a set of myths. We don't have the carvings, we barely have the poem, and we certainly don't have the myths we want. So let's see if we can't come at this from a new angle and find the story another way. Now the story isn't just about Loki, Heimdall, and seals. Snorri also mentioned a necklace, brisinga-men, so it might be worth taking a closer look at any mythology around that specifically. Loki is regularly cited as thief of brisinga-men, and Snorri implied that the fight was incited by him stealing it in the first place, so So we might be onto something here. If nothing else, it's worth looking into this necklace a little more closely just to contextualize the conflict in the first place. Now, brisinga-men does actually show up in a few different places. It's actually referenced in Beowulf, where it's called brisinga-men, and it's said that a warrior, Hama, steals it from King Eormanric the Great along with a whole pile of treasure, but later has a crisis of faith and donates it all to a monastery. This isn't much, but at least it confirms the thing exists in folklore beyond just Snorri's angle. In the Poetic Edda, brisinga-men is referenced twice. When Freya learns that she's supposed to marry Thrym, king of the Frost Giants, she gets so pissed it triggers an earthquake and the necklace brisinga-men falls off her. Thor later wears it when he's disguised as Freya, which is pretty solid evidence that brisinga-men is mythologically important because it belongs to Freya. This adds some important detail to the original battle story, because it means Loki didn't just steal brisinga-men, he stole it from Freya.
Yeah, and that means that he's like, it makes his story even more like badass, basically.
We can find one more important bit of context for brisinga-men in the 14th century, a text called Surla Thad, or something, compiled by two monks but theoretically based on an earlier text, possibly 12th or 13th century. Now this text does something Snorri also did in the Prose Edda, but a lot less subtly. It pulls at ancient aliens and recharacterizes the Norse gods as highly advanced humans from somewhere else, in this case, Asia, because it sounds kinda like Iser, I guess. This was pretty common for monks. They wanted to document the myths and religious beliefs of the regions they Christianized, but they didn't want to do any heresy in the process, so they filed off the godly serial numbers and reframed everyone involved as just regular humans, honest. So in this story, Freya is the favorite concubine of King Odin, an extremely human man. Freya acquires the necklace brisinga-men from 4 dwarves, who will only accept payment in the form of sex, which Freya is cool with, but decides to keep her little secret. And while she shows off the shiny new necklace to Odin, she doesn't tell him how she got it. But an extremely human man named Loki catches wind of the sexy time shenanigans, and Odin commissions Loki to steal brisinga-men from Freya's impenetrable bower, which Loki does by transforming into a fly, a very normal thing for humans to do. So Loki slips in and very delicately removes the necklace. Freya discovers the theft and confronts Odin about it, who admits to commissioning the robbery and agrees to return the necklace on one condition. Freya has to cause an eternal war between 2 kings, triggering a cataclysmic battle that will only be stopped when a very Christian dude braves the battlefield and kills everyone permanently. I'm sure it's a very interesting story, but I also don't care, so anyway, Freya agrees and gets the necklace back no problem.
Yeah, kind of, I don't know. Hearing a story from those days in like the Christianity back then, it literally would have bored me, honestly. So I need to hear like something different at least.
Now, none of these stories 100% resemble each other, and every single one has at least one piece that the others don't. None of them has the whole story, but we can kind of rearrange the pieces into an order that possibly makes sense. We can nail down that brisinga-men is Freya's necklace. She gets it by allegedly boning some dwarves, Loki steals it, possibly on Odin's orders, and Heimdall goes to get it back, possibly on Freya's orders. And when they fight over it, they turn into seals, according to Snorri and literally nobody else. I mean, I'll accept it as uncritical canon because I absolutely love everything about it, but we gotta admit it's pretty uncorroborated. So that's the story of how I broke out the conspiracy board and burned a week going down the rabbit hole just so I could draw this. You're all welcome.
That is great, and that is badass. I love it. Love Rush drawings.
Baby.
Who knows what dark conspiracy sought to keep the objectively funniest Norse myth out of the public eye all these long millennia. What I want to know is who turned into a seal first. Was Heimdall like, I must take the form of the ideal pursuit predator, or at least the most blur. If you're wondering how this song is relevant, I invite you to look up the name of this creator. Then pat me on the back for how clever I am. I don't want to play too much of the song because I know it could get copyrighted, so I'm not gonna try to do that. But yeah, great video. Talk to you guys in the next video. Also, subscribe to the channel when it's 10,000 subscribers, because I will get the hot sauce and eat it on camera, and yeah, you guys will get to see me suffer. So yeah, we'll make a whole fun video about it. I don't know what the video is going to be yet, but it's going to be something fun. But yeah, talk to you guys in the next video, and yeah, peace.